At Tier 1 Setup Shop, we're not just setup builders. We're racers, league admins, and part of the same sim community you are. We build setups for the full NASCAR ladder, Cup, Xfinity, Trucks, Arca, and the grassroots warriors of short track racing, late models, legends, SK, and tour mods, all tested and refined in real race conditions. We listen, we adjust, we improve, because your input makes our setups better.
Are you looking for a league that has racing 3 nights a week or special event races? Tier 1 Racing League is here for you. Most races are broadcasted by our very own Tier 1 studio. From dirt track to super speedways, Tier 1 has side-by-side racing with real drivers and real rivalries. If you wish to join us, go to our website, tier1racingleague.com, where you can find our Discord link and much more information. Don't forget to subscribe to our Tier 1 Studio YouTube and Twitch channels so you don't miss the action.
Are you ready to take your Twitch and Discord experience to the next level? Introducing EasyDayBot, your ultimate bot for seamless interaction. Whether you're live on Twitch or chatting on Discord, EasyDayBot's dynamic responses open up a whole new world of possibilities. Engage with your community like never before through unique prompts, custom reactions, and endless fun. It's the bot that understands you. Make every day an Easy Day download now at easydaybot.com.
New to Tier 1, first-time customers get 30% off your first purchase, excluding subscriptions. And if you're a streamer, league, or broadcaster, join our sponsorship program. Share your code, your community gets 10% off, and you earn $1 per setup sold with it. Tier 1 Setup Shop. Built with you, built for you. Every lap, every week.
Good evening, race fans. Welcome to Tier 1 Studio. Tonight, the second installment of the THD Arca series goes live in primetime from Lakeland, Florida, better known as USA International Speedway. The state of Florida is hot. These boys are going to be harder. So get locked, ready to rock. Let's fire this up in primetime as it all goes down tonight here on Tier 1 Studio. Matt Metler up in the Tony Trapasso Memorial broadcast booth. So happy to be here. An exciting opportunity. Want to thank Brett and his staff for bringing me on board for a part-time role. I've been looking forward to this series. I've been counting it down, and I'll tell you what, the lineup out there, the field that we have set ready to rock and roll, is it looks like the real deal Teal is going to have a pole here. It's a little bit of a spoiler. Just thankful for the opportunity and can't wait to bring you all the sights and sounds of everything Tier 1 related Tuesday nights. I hope you stay locked with us for the duration of this season. This racetrack, obviously known for its history here in the heart of Central Florida. This place, it's tough to get around. It's treacherous. It will make you be competitive, but it'll also drive you to be better out there on the racetrack. If you're too aggressive with the loud pedal, this place will throw you in the fence and end your evening. So who will survive and be alive at the end of this thing? That's what we're about to find out here tonight as we are officially now into our 5-minute warm-up session. These drivers, again, going to have 5 minutes to make final tweaks to their car, and that's not what you want to do there as you see the 94 kind of go full-blown takeoff mode there, right into the inside no safer barrier here tonight, but right into that concrete bunker. That's not what you want to do. The 15 there of Christopher Pendle also getting a piece of the fence. So we now send it back up to the eye in the sky. Let's go ahead and look at tonight's race information. Throw it up on the main screen so you all can follow along at home. And again, got a big shout out to THDesigns for coming on board and sponsoring this series. Presented by Tier 1 Setup Shop. Weather, 82 degrees. Water drain cognate at 57% under clear skies. Winds out of the west at 5 miles an hour. That will be a non-factor as the speeds will be on the lower side of the spectrum here tonight. This racetrack officially advertised, oddly, as a half mile. However, it clocks in at 0.61 miles. That's going to give us a track temperature of 87 degrees Fahrenheit at an altitude of 139 feet. Given the session time right now, we're only going to see the track temps come down and the grip go up as we now get ready to send it down trackside with just roughly remaining. You see these cars pulling off out of the racetrack now. Christopher Pendle is going to lead the charge. There's Nolan out of Abilene, Ohio. And that's Nolan Mills in that number 2 spot right now as they pull off a pit road. Some of these drivers I'm very fluid with. Some of them I'm going to get to know along with all of you guys, and I invite that challenge. How about in the 65 ride? Bill Sleep, long-time competitor out there on the racetrack. He is no slouch in iRacing. Look for him to do great things tonight. A seasoned veteran, Ken Ron in the 33. I know him very well from his competition in SNN, a full-length Cup Series. Great to see him over here. Outside of him, looking a little dicey there. And again, you want to shake these cars down, try to really get a feel for what you're going to have out there in the race. Gary Smith, the top 3 rides going to go flow rider mode right around there. If you're going to make those mistakes, make it now. Now is when you can afford to make those mistakes out there on the racetrack, because in about 3 minutes or so, it's going to be a completely different set of circumstances out there. Wes Fuller in the 35 ride out of Nebraska City, Nebraska. This guy knows how to run. He likes these short tracks, if I remember correctly. He's got that forward lock ready to rock. In fact, it's looking really good planted on that racetrack. Look how well it's going to wrap the bottom, puts the power down. That car looks nice and stable. Look for the 35 to be a factor in this one before all is said and done. Great looking Chevrolet SS. That's going to be Spencer Teal in the 18 ride. New colors for him since the last I seen him in DRL competition. Moon Pie on board as always. At least he is consistent. Good to see Real Deal Teal in the lineup. And in fact, he even has it in his SDK file now, which is hilarious to see that. Matt Erickson out of the state of Wisconsin. Number 28 Rain-X machine. Out there making some laps right now. Finally getting up to speed. And then in the 17R, you can't forget the R. That is Vlad Rosell out of Niagara. I wonder if that's Niagara Falls. Because if that's the case, that's technically where I'm from, born and raised there. And then after my stint in the United States Marine Corps, decided to move to South Florida. I just had enough of the snow. Alex Princeton out of Lake Elmo. If you ever heard him talk, he kind of sounds like Elmo too at times. I'm serious. If he gets in the top 3 tonight, you'll hear from him. Another driver I know very well in the TRD-powered machine in the Toyota. 84, Sullivan Tire on board that ride tonight. That's going to be Eddie Baker. I'll tell you what, I haven't seen him compete in the new Arca car, but in the truck, that man is a beast. I mean, he was always cooking, eating good in the neighborhood. We're going to see what he has in store with us tonight here in this Arca car. But if he's anything like he was in that truck, put the field on notice. He was a terror. Little slideways out there, trying to work some heat in those tires as we're working now about 3 minutes and 40 seconds into this warm-up session. Also, while we got the time, folks, let us know you're live out there. Sound off in the youtube.com live chat. Let us know who you're rooting for. We'll shout you out, and we'll get your driver some extended screen time as well over the course of the broadcast this evening. Take a look at the lap times here. Looks like Justin Summer clocking in at a 20.64. He's going to have the hot hand, at least in this warm-up session. Less than 1 minute remaining, and he's got about a 10th on the field over Nolan in the 1. Your top 3, Summers, Nolan, and Eddie Baker. It's going to be the 84 machine as we kick it back up to the eye in the sky. Some last-minute adjustments, and again, this is a fixed-set league, so there's really not much you can adjust inside this race car. They want the competition to be as even and as fair across the board, and let the factor out there on the racetrack be in the driver's hands behind the steering wheel. And to make sure that happens, we lock these setups down Only a couple adjustables out there on the racetrack, and these drivers, though, will use anything and everything they can to get a little bit more grip versus slip in this car, especially over the course of the long run, as I'm pretty sure this thing will try to go to the tight side of the spectrum, especially if you abuse that right front in the early going. As that checkered flag now flies, and it's official. Summer is going to have the fastest lap in that session, a 20:64, as we now get ready to lock rock and go racing here at USA International Speedway. Pull up tonight's starting lineup as that field gets gridded down, ready to rock and roll. Spencer Teal going to have the pole. Out of my home state of Florida, a 20:637 going to be good for the pole. Outside ahead out of TTR Racing, Greg Wood Jr. in the 67. He's going to roll off here P2. Christopher, one of my favorite Pendles in the 15 machine. Going to start inside the top three row. Eddie Baker from WFO Racing outside of row number 2. Going to roll off here fourth. Fifth belongs to TJ Allen in the 51 machine. Great Lakes Sim on board. Scott, one more time, there's going to be some of these names I'm going to have a hard time with. I believe that's Milliken. Going to start off P6 well. The 7 ride going to roll off here, or excuse me, the 1 ride going to roll off there in that 7th place position, while Justin Summer in the 94 going to roll off 8th. 9th belongs to Alex Princeton, DGR Racing. And then the SDK file is showing Air Blair HRA for the driver name there. So I apologize for that. We'll get that fixed. Thank you. Out of Canada, Gary W. Smith in the 97 rolls off 11th, while Russ Fuller is going to start there in P12. 13th belongs to Ken Rong, and outside of him, the 27, starting 14th, that's going to be Thomas Adams. Matt Erickson rounds like your top 15, while Bill Sleep is going to start here in that 16th place position. Adrian Torres, 17th, and rounding out the top 18 drivers, Justin Evans in that 46 machine. Unfortunately, he is going to be a scrub this evening, as those lights now go off on that iRacing.com pace car, the calm before the storm, here from USA International Speedway. These drivers now work the turns 3 and 4 complex. We await that pace car to come down pit road so we can get back to the good part, and that's green flag racing right out here on Tier 1 Studio. We jump on board with the drone for this restart. Making sure they got the right gear in this thing. Remember, this is old school. H pattern, no click shift. That pace car pulls off. There he goes. Here we go. Make sure Grandma got plenty of kernel-free popcorn. We're about to get it on here. Short track style, green flag in the air. Those glorious V8s come roaring to life for the first time tonight. And it's a side-by-side John 4 special through the turns 1 and 2 complex. Still decided to drag racing. It's the 18 going up against the 67. They're still side-by-side, door-to-door. That camera's going to try to get a nose out, but the 18 is going to pull even once again. Talk about going hot and heavy right off the rip. Looks like we've got 2 laps to go versus 148 left in the bank. You would have had me fooled. Oh, we got problems. One of those Ford Mustangs about that 5th, 6th place position went up there and smacked the wall a ton, but we're going to stay under green flag conditions. Is Greg Wood Jr. going to take the lead, and someone went Baja mode and ate the biscuit? Oh my goodness. Go back to the instant replay here. Watch this, folks. He went Evil Knievel mode there. I'm sorry. I thought I didn't realize he actually caught a little bit of air before he ate the fence, but this racetrack has all kinds of ways to ruin your evening, as it invites you to kind of just squeeze the throttle pedal a little bit more, and when you do that, you have that grip, it's hooked up, and that back into that race car is out to lunch, and you really have no room for air or to recover this race car. Big time incident behind him. It's a 1-2-3 whack-a-mole situation. That's going to throw a yellow. And it does. Our first one for incident, a multiple car wreck. We get popped off right around that 4th or 5th place position. See Christopher Pendle there in the 94 ride. Aha, good old short track racing. Then he goes Goes up there and just howitzers the one machine in the back end, spins him around. And once that happens, all your escape routes are pretty much blocked. The one's going to take a peek to the inside here. He has the position. The 51 doesn't realize he can't clear down until it's too late. Contact made there. And that sets off the chain reaction of events. Watch the 94 Pendle come in here and just absolutely punt the one. And now all lanes of traffic are blocked. Look at the mayhem. The tire smoke, the nose of that Mustang instantly explodes off the front of that race car, goes flying into the grandstands. That's how fast things can happen here at USA International Speedway as we work the first caution on the evening. 7 laps written into the history books. Scheduled distance tonight is 150 laps, and then don't forget, folks, we have that break at the halfway point, and that's coming at lap 75. Greg Wood Jr., Tier 1 colors on board that TRD-powered machine out of Hagerstown, Maryland. He currently calls the shots. He is the HMFIC on the field right now. Your pole sitter, Spencer Teal, has slid back 1 position. Eddie Baker up 1. So minimal changes inside the top 3, top 4. However, if you go back to Blair in that 17 machine, he is tied for the biggest mover of the race, up 5 positions with Gary W. Smith in the 97. I take that back. It's okay to 3-wing for the biggest mover of the race. Wes Fuller also wanting to throw his hat in the rig. All 3 drivers, 5th, 6th, and 7th are deadlocked for the biggest mover of the race award at 5 positions apiece. So they are getting after it in the early going on this one, as I believe the lights on that pace car should go out this time by. You know, for short track racing, a lot of these drivers in the early going, you want to get into a rhythm. You're out there, you're doing a dance, you're vibing with your race, the car and the racetrack. And the best way to disrupt that, throw a yellow flag out there early, especially inside of 10 laps. That's really going to start to mess with these drivers, especially if we get into a restart situation or restart wars, as I like to call them. That'll only typically make it even more intense and raise the aggression out there on the racetrack. Is this field now racked and stacked? Noah's Ark situation. Get ready to go back to the green flag side of things. Also getting a report that Eddie Baker did not comply with the banner enforcement policy here. He does not have that on the car, and because there was a written warning served in the Discord, this would technically be his 2nd offense as that green flag comes back in the air. He may have to serve a drive-through penalty. We'll keep you posted on the car that currently resides in that 3rd place position. Greg Wood Jr. got a great restart there, and he is able to keep that Camry out front. However, that Chevrolet being piloted by Spencer Teal starts to close back in just a little bit. And in fact, he is being hounded right now from that 84. That's pending a penalty, though, so keep that in mind, folks. We could have a big change for position here inside the money. Should RC feel a penalty should be levied against that Chevrolet team. Single file, ripping conveyor belt style, that's what you want to see here at this racetrack. 2x2, side by side, typically doesn't work out very well. And now it's all about trimming some fat off the board. You want to keep your race car in one piece. You want to save your equipment for when it counts, and that is the end of these races. As we go back now to the instant replay. Ooh, that was almost disastrous. For a moment there, we went 3 wide. No, the 65 then's going to lose it. He's going to spin it out, however, not much contact there. He should be good to go as we stay under green flag conditions. Best lap on the evening, posted by the 67, a 20.76. He's starting to open up, almost approaching a half a second now over the 18 of Spencer Teal. Let's jump on board with, go back to the instant replay. Just a little too overzealous there on entry, and that race car just steps out. Let's jump on board with your leader, Greg Wood Jr. He's got a hot rod. Let's see how he's attacking this place. Off the corner, he gives it the business. Hard on the accelerator now. Transitions off the throttle, out of the biters. Wants this car to rotate through the center and wants to be able to pick up that throttle, but you can't put your foot all in it too soon. Otherwise, you will lose that race car off the corner. But right now, this car is hooked up and he is vibing out here in the front, also benefiting from that clean air to the front of this race car. The man from Hagerstown has the plan at the front of this thing. We currently work lap 17 of 150. This battle for second just will not go away. Eddie Baker has not come down pit road yet to serve any type of a penalty, so I'm going to say that he is good to go right now. Going to pop the lap times underneath just underneath these cars on the racetrack on the bottom portion of your screen. That's going to show you the differential between the two guys battling on the racetrack right now that are side by side, door to door. The 18 puts the cojones down and musters back by him, but the 84 is going to have the shorter distance around this racetrack, and they're going to be side by side, door to door again. Place your bets. You like the low lane, the high lane. Let's see if someone's going to give way here. And the 18 of Spencer Teal makes a veteran decision there and decides to just give up the lead, stay in it to fight another day. You know, from a broadcast perspective, we love side-by-side racing. We want that action, but these drivers in the race cars sometimes, they have a different set of priorities. And Eddie Baker and Spencer Teal, they know what the end game is here, and that's being around when it counts at the end of these things. TJ Allen up one position from where he started, just inside the top 5 in that 4th place position. All the 97 of Gary Smith almost snookers him there. That was about as close as you could get without hitting somebody. I mean, he couldn't fit a piece of paper between those two cars. 97 feels like it is time to go, as we're now north of 21 or 20 laps in the history books. Well, that's what happens when you get too wide. You get wide off the corner there. The back end wants to step out. All the grip right now is in that bottom lane. You can see the track starting to rubber up as well, and that will change some handling characteristics as we continue to go out throughout this race. But really, the preferred line here is about a quarter lane off that yellow line. Or some of these drivers they'll grip that line right around the bottom too. It just depends on what your preference is. The man doing it the best though, Greg Wood Jr. now approaches a 1 second advantage, and you can see the lap time difference. Wood's out there consistently in the 21.0 range. He had one off lap there, was a 21.2, but he's running 21.0s, and Eddie Baker's out there running, you know, almost 21s. Excuse me, yeah, last couple laps there, a 21.280, a 21.0417, and a 21.166, and that's where you're seeing the that margin, that differential continuing to build, just because, you know, Greg Wood is putting laps together better and more consistent than the 84 right now, but that could change. Because now the 18 that Spencer Teal starts to claw back in towards the 84. Often in these races, you have the comers and goers, the guys that fire off well, and then you have racing translator out there on the racetrack. The car's going to change. The rubber's going to get laid down on the racetrack. This car's going to burn off fuel, which changes the balance. And then some of these guys that fire off well may fall to the back, while some of these other veterans perhaps save their stuff and then move forward as the other cars start to fall off a little bit. And that makes for really exciting racing here. Is that, oh man, that Chevrolet, what drift mode here. Look at a Saturday night tandem drifting competition. That was the Don't Stave Your Riding. Go back to the instant replay here. Take a look at this, folks. Justin Sumner here. Yikes. 94 at Pendle. I can't believe he didn't hit that race car. That's impressive. Great heads-up situational awareness there. But that's how fast it happens here. 1 minute, everything's fine. The next minute, life is not good here at this racetrack, and it's been that way for some time as Greg Wood continues to have it on a Sunday drive cruise control mode. I mean, this car is just handling so good. You're not seeing the back end of this car step out. You're not seeing the nose slide on entry. It rotates the center of the corner so good, and when he picks up the throttle, that car doesn't even budge. It's like a slot car out there on the racetrack right now. And I know it looks easy, folks, but I promise you, it is anything but. The discipline, the throttle control you have to do this lap after lap requires a ton of skill and experience, and you're seeing why Greg Wood is as good as he is right now. Starting to get a little space in between our top three. It'll be Greg Wood Jr. currently your leader. Eddie Baker resides in second. Gary W. Smith continues to charge up through the field. That's your top three. Spencer Teal and TJ Allen, your top five. We're going to step aside, pay some bills, but we'll be right back with all the high-flying, high-octane racing action right here on Tier 1. Stick around.
At Tier 1 Setup Shop, we're not just setup builders. We're racers, league admins, and part of the same sim community you are. We build setups for the full NASCAR ladder, Cup, Xfinity, Trucks, Arca, and the grassroots warriors of short track racing, late models, legends, SK, and tour mods, all tested and refined in real race conditions. We listen, we adjust, we improve, because your input makes our setups better.
Are you looking for a league that has racing 3 nights a week or special event races? Tier 1 Racing League is here for you. Most races are broadcasted by our very own Tier 1 studio. From dirt track to super speedways, Tier 1 has side-by-side racing with real drivers and real rivalries. If you wish to join us, go to our website, tier1racingleague.com, where you can find our Discord link and much more information. Don't forget to subscribe to our Tier 1 Studio YouTube and Twitch channels so you don't miss the action.
Are you ready to take your Twitch and Discord experience to the next level? Introducing EasyDayBot, your ultimate bot for seamless interaction. Whether you're live on Twitch or chatting on Discord, EasyDayBot's dynamic responses open up a whole new world of possibilities. Engage with your community like never before through unique prompts, custom reactions, and endless fun. It's the bot that understands you. Make every day an easy day download now at easydaybot.com.
New to Tier 1, first-time customers get 30% off your first purchase, excluding subscriptions. And if you're a streamer, league, or broadcaster, join our sponsorship program. Share your code, your community gets 10% off, and you earn $1 per setup sold with it. Tier 1 Setup Shop. Built with you, built for you. Every lap, every week.
Race fans, welcome back to the Sunshine State, better known as Florida, here in Lakeland, home of the USA International Speedway. Or right now, welcome to Greg Wood Jr. country, as he has dominated the opening 40 laps here of this race. In fact, he is out to his biggest lead advantage on the evening, north of 1.2 seconds over Eddie Baker in the 84 machine. The driver out of Hagerstown, Maryland, currently has the plan. Can he put it all together, though, and get it in victory lane? We all know it's never over until it's over. And if you think it is, stick around, because I promise you, there will be something. There will be a bump in the road. Something will happen that'll make this race go through the stratosphere as far as the intensity is concerned before all is said and done here, right on Tier 1 Studio. Go ahead and take you through the field. Just talking about Greg Wood Jr., just missed out on the pole, started P2, currently resides P1. Eddie Baker in that 84 machine. The start of this race, surrounded perhaps with a penalty. We heard it was a possibility. Doesn't look like it was enforced, but however, it was a rough going, stressful for him in the opening laps. Now he can focus, now he can lock in as he's up 2 positions to the good, running in P2. Gary W. Smith in the 97 machine. He has been the hot rod charging from the back to the front. Biggest mover of the race, has now cracked the top 3 out of the beautiful state of Virginia. In the heart of the Mid-Atlantic, Franklin County Speedway Stock 4, 2024 Rookie of the Year as well. Just wanted to throw that out there. Beautiful looking paint scheme on that Ford Mustang as well, as he's vibing in that 3rd place position. Let's go back now to 4th. Spencer Teal, aka Real Deal Teal, has slid back a couple spots, almost outside of the top 5, but not the case. He has not 18 Moon Pie machine, now entrenched in that 4th place position. Currently about 1.52 seconds back. Going on to the 51. Look at the paint scheme on TJ Allen's race car. This thing is beautiful. I love the metallic colors under the nights, especially when we start to transition from daylight to dusk, and you will see that car just really come to life, especially as this track lighting really comes into full effect. TJ Allen, though, hey, he's even with the board. He started in 5th place. That's where he runs, and that race car still looks showroom brand new. I don't even see a scratch on that thing. So he's doing a great job here maintaining his equipment and probably just logging laps right now, waiting until it comes down to go time. Last time by, ran a 21:39, and that was actually maybe the fastest lap out there on the racetrack. So that 51 machine is showing some great long run speed. Wes Fuller, another car coming from the back towards the front in the 35 ride. That Ford Mustang now just outside of the top 5 in that 6th place position, up 6 on the board. Driver out of Nebraska, he's glued, he's locked, he's ready to rock. And again, turning some very competitive lap times right now. Last time by, he clocked in at a 21:35. Faster than the top 3 race cars on the racetrack right now. So you can start to see how tire saving is going to pay some long run dividends here. Let's keep an eye on some of these guys just a little bit further back and see how far they come. Remember, we have that break coming at the halfway point at lap 75, so 15 laps from now. Christopher Pendle in the 15 machine. Or excuse me, Alex Princeton, I'm sorry. My man at the FedEx machine out of Lake Elbow, driver that I know very well, acting very much like Alex Princeton right now. Started just inside the top 10, not making any noise. He's being silent out there on the racetrack. He likes to be the silent assassin. Doesn't want to be on people's radar. Just chip at it a little bit as we go. And then once it's 20 to go, this man will come roaring to life and he will try to take it to the house. If this 19 is in it at the end, you never want to sleep on Alex Princeton as he sits in that 7th place position. 8th belongs to Christopher Pendle, driver that I know very well from Racers Elite in the Celsius 15 machine, another one of those metallic paint schemes. Love the ribs on that car too. That thing is vibing right now. Slid back about 5 spots on the opening laps there. The initial start of the race did not go his way. He kind of got shuffled outside, lost some spots. Also has some damage to the nose of that race car. I don't think it's in fact impacting the handling too much to a certain degree, but nonetheless, there's a little bit of a wrinkle there. To keep your eye on that, you don't want to get these fenders rubbing on the tires. Bad things will happen, but right now, everything nominal in the 15 camp as he resides in that 8th place position. 9th. Last time by, Nolan ran at 21:45. Make that a 21:50 as timing updates at the line. He now work lap 54 of the scheduled 150. Holds on to that 9th place position. Only slid back 2 on the scoring pylon. Started 7th, now resides 9th. But who is this guy all over the back door of his race car? The 28 of Matt Erickson, who's now inside the top 10. Started in that 15th place spot, really starting to dial up the pressure here in that beautiful Tier 1 Setup Shop sponsored 28 machine. Out of DeForest, Wisconsin. Last time by, let's complete his lap time here. Ken Ron, 33. In that 11th place position right now. Last time by, ran a 21:73. His best lap, however, a 21:04. So you're starting to see a good bit of fall off here on these General tires. I almost said Dr. Feelgoods, but that's what I refer to the Goodyears. I'll have to come up with something for these Generals. but there's a good bit of fall off in these tires, well over a second. 33 out of Pennsylvania. He's one of the Pennsylvania boys, doing great in that 11th place position. On to 12th, the 17R machine. I love the number on this car. Just kind of just logging laps right now, seeing what everyone else in this field is doing. That car is still in one piece. I don't see a scratch on that machine. Maybe a little bit of rear end damage there. Yeah, it looks like he took a little, someone gave him the bumper perhaps at one point in time throughout this race. However, the leader's out of Niagara Falls. It says hometown. You're kind of teasing me here with the SDK driver information app here. It says Niagara. If it's Niagara Falls, we're out of the same hometown. Something I'm going to have. Oh, he's Niagara Falls, Canada. Well, that's a hop, skip, and a jump from where I lived. I was on the other side of the Niagara Falls. I can walk to Canada in probably 2 minutes and 30 seconds, so I'm going to consider him my neighbor, even though he's in a different country, if you want to get technical. Thomas Adams in 13th right now, that 27 Adams machine. Great-looking paint scheme on that race car. Currently started just in... They have an incident out there on the racetrack, getting a report that a car may have been either sent into the wall or may have lost it. Let's go to the instant replay here and see what happened. Alex Prince is going to send it off into the corner in the back end. He's going to find where the Waffle House dumped the bacon grease, and he's going to go flow rider mode right round. However, he's Greg Wood Jr., and here comes the Baker. That lead is starting to evaporate as we're now under 0.4 of a second. Baker's trying to run him down, and Gary Smith is trying to steal second from the Baker as well. So now he's going to have to play offense and defense, and that typically doesn't work very well out here on the racetrack. Look at the blocking from the 84. Baker's trying to make that car as wide as a garbage truck right now. I don't know if it's blocking. I mean, we're not even at the halfway point here. I don't know how aggressive you want to block right now. That's going to open the door. Here comes the 97. He's peeking on the bottom, but the 84 is able to put the power down on the outside and take the spot back. So he's going to reload, reset. Greg Wood loving what he's seeing in his mirror right now. He is cheering this out. He wants to see some more of that because he knows the more they battle, that should open him up a window of safety, allow him to get away. But these two drivers in front of you do right now, but we have still 10 laps to go here. See if you can, exactly, there you go, guys. Stop fighting each other and try to go up there and run down to 67 and then go back to it. We're going to have a three-way foreign affair here at the halfway point as we now go on board with Greg Wood Jr. looking out the GoPro bumper cam, and he's got a face full of Chevrolet SS and Eddie Baker in that mean green machine. That interval is stuck exactly at 0.22 seconds right now. Trying to be like the Intimidator of old. Trying to get inside the head. The mental chess game being played right now. Trying to intimidate him. Make a mistake. Best way to do that, get him to slip up on entry. That opens the gateway. Driver into the corner. It's typically a lot harder than that, but that'll get you a good starting spot to take that position. Make that driver make a mental mistake, make an error on entry. Eddie's really good at doing that from what I remember. However, Greg Wood has stabilized the bleeding. He was losing real estate at an alarming rate. Now he's opened it back up to almost a half a second here. So perhaps Wood's just managing the gap and running as hard as he has to. Three-way battle for first right now. All three of those cars under a second. Pitch a blanket over top of these guys. That's how close they are together right now on the racetrack. However, the leader's going to have lap traffic in front of him. The 17R still on the lead lap. And I imagine, side by side, here we go for P number 2. Gary Smith trying to sneak it down under. Gonna loose off the exit of 2 last time by. Let's see if he can go ahead and right the wrong. Little bit loose. The car slides up to 94. The 84 gets loose as well. Now here comes Baker with a Louisville slider on the bottom. Can he make it work? Look at the 97 just drifted off the top shelf of the racetrack. Excellent car control here from the 97. In fact, great driving from both of these guys to get it out here inside the top three. The 17 did go one lap down. Now let's see if Greg Wood Jr. can use him as a pick or a roadblock somehow, some way to get it. Nope, no, he's going to move right out of the way. That's not what Greg Wood wanted to see. That driver, a couple guys trying to flip the brake here. Coming down pit road, TJ Allen now on pit lane in the 51 machine, so keep a note of that. As we're now lap 74 on the board. Greg Wood's going to fire down the backstretch, put it back to the floorboard, open it back up to a half a second advantage once again. He sends it into the turns 3 and 4 complex after the start-finish line. So we now work lap 75. That was going to be our halfway point. And remember, folks, the top 10 are going to accrue points. If you finish inside the top 10 at the halfway mark, that's going to be additional points awarded to you at the end of this race. Ever so critical. Numbers don't lie, and points are points. I don't care how you get it. You can have that debate, that discussion. It's all about numbers and how you generate those numbers out on the racetrack and how consistently you do has a major impact on how things finish when all is said and done at the end of this season. Greg Wood, what a performance. I mean, I cannot say enough about Greg Wood Jr. here in the opening 75 laps. That was impressive. He pretty much had the whole field on ice. We've seen Eddie Baker and Gary Smith maybe had an answer there late, but they got involved in their own micro battle out there on the racetrack, and that allowed Greg Wood to open things back up. He's going to be your halfway leader. Take a look here at what happened just before the end of the stage here, or the halfway point, I should say. Oh, the 18's going to loop it. A little bit of code brown action there for the 18s. The Moon Pie guy always likes to keep it exciting. Pit road's going to become the hottest place inside this facility. Greg Wood Jr. there going ahead, getting 4 tires, 4 generals on that race car, 2 cans of pretty sure it's Sunoco Racing fuel. Jack's down. He's going to be down and away. And as these cars are getting serviced, we're going to step aside for our second break. We'll be right back for the second half of this race. Stick around. Don't go anywhere. You got it locked on Tier 1 Studio.
At Tier 1 Setup Shop, we're not just setup builders. We're racers, league admins, and part of the same sim community you are. We build setups for the full NASCAR ladder, Cup, Xfinity, Trucks, Arca, and the grassroots warriors of short track racing, late models, legends, SK, and tour mods, all tested and refined in real race conditions. We listen, we adjust, we improve, because your input makes our setups better.
Are you looking for a league that has racing 3 nights a week or special event races? Tier 1 Racing League is here for you. Most races are broadcasted by our very own Tier 1 studio. From dirt track to super speedways, Tier 1 has side-by-side racing with real drivers and real rivalries. If you wish to join us, go to our website, tier1racingleague.com, where you can find our Discord link and much more information. Don't forget to subscribe to our Tier 1 Studio YouTube and Twitch channels so you don't miss the action.
Are you ready to take your Twitch and Discord experience to the next level? Introducing EasyDayBot, your ultimate bot for seamless interaction. Whether you're live on Twitch or chatting on Discord, EasyDayBot's dynamic responses open up a whole new world of possibilities. Engage with your community like never before through unique prompts, custom reactions, and endless fun. It's the bot that understands you, Make every day an easy day download now at easydaybot.com.
New to Tier 1, first-time customers get 30% off your first purchase, excluding subscriptions. And if you're a streamer, league, or broadcaster, join our sponsorship program. Share your code, your community gets 10% off, and you earn $1 per setup sold with it. Tier 1 Setup Shop. Built with you, built for you. Every lap, every week.
Race fans, welcome back to Tier 1 Studio. I want to thank you all for being here, a part of the high-flying, high-octane racing action being brought to you by the THDesigns Arca series. The first half of this race, it has been a barn burner, and at the helm, the mastermind of the field has been the 67, the Toyota of Greg Wood Jr., who's checking out the internals of that Ghost pace car. You gotta have fun out there under caution as a driver. A little bit of a three-wide salute here. I'm not sure if this is planned or not, but hey, like I said, you gotta keep it real. You gotta keep it alive out there under caution, as Greg Wood is clearly having a riot there playing with the race car, or the pace car, excuse me. Remember, folks, before that caution flew, Greg Wood had the lead, but Eddie Baker and Gary Smith were having a heavyweight bout of the ages. As this field gets racked, stacked, ready to rock and roll for the second half of this race, as the sun continues to set and the lights begin to shine, the intensity out there is going to pick up right along with it. There goes the pace car, 2 by 2, side by side. Greg Wood Jr. leads them back to green here. And let's do it again here, folks. Those V8s are going to come roaring back to light. Did the caution get waved off? iRacing is reconnected. Loading back in now, sir. Race fans, welcome back to Tier 1 Studio. South Florida Lightning tried to kick us off of this thing, but we are back and the green flag is in the air and those V8s are back at it, raided through the night sky here in Lakeland. It's a frenzy inside the first 10, 12 cars. It is a melee right now for track position. Wes Fuller, look at him slicing and dicing in that Ford Mustang. And behind him is almost 3 lanes of fast and furious action as everyone knows it is go time now here in Lakeland as we work lap 97 out of the scheduled 150. Car is trying to get back to the bottom, get that single file conveyor belt ripping once again. Greg Wood Jr. continues to show the way here with Eddie Baker. Hot on his heels in second. Spencer Real Deal Teal resides in third, but how about Christopher Pedro? Side by side, door to door, just behind the 35 ride. But Christopher Pedro is now cracked into the top 4. Wes Fuller in that 6th place position, the farthest he's been forward this race tonight. Actually, there's a good bit of separation between himself and that 7th place position right now as he has his sights set on the back of that 51 machine. TJ Allen, the driver of that race car, he is even with the board, started in 5th place, and he's virtually been there all race long. Not sure the last time I've seen a driver pretty much just stuck where he started. Not that that's a bad thing. I mean, a top 5 is a top 5. You take those when you can get them. But Wes Fuller may have other plans here as he turns it down to the bottom. He gives it the business, puts the power down. He's going to try to slide it through the corner there, makes the pass, and that's Wes Fuller coming to life in that 51 Chevrolet SS. Does such a good job of just preserving his race car, saving his equipment, and then when he wants to set it off, that's exactly what he does, and he'll come charging. Where's the front? Oh my goodness, what a save! Are you kidding me? The 51 pulls a Houdini act of the ages here. That car had disaster written all over it. I don't know if he got hit back straight or... Incredible piece of driving there out of the 51 at TJ Allen. That was definitely... I hope so. I'm on the 65 now. Oh no. Can we throw it back to a quick commercial break? Folks, we're bringing the coverage back in. Watch what happened when we were quickly got ejected out of the broadcast booth. The 17R is going to take a wicked shot to the fence, and just when you thought it couldn't be worse, Alex Princeton in the 19 is going to administer an RPG to the front, to the face. Oh my goodness, what a shot there from the 19 of Princeton. Had nowhere to go. Nothing you can do there if you're the 19 of Princeton, and unfortunately, that is a driver that is plagued by bad luck at times, and you hate to see that carry over from league to league, but my goodness, tonight, that is reminiscent of so many times I've seen a great run by Alex Princeton go up in flame due to a freak incident in front of him. As the caution flag is going to reign supreme here once again, but look who's at the front. Eddie Baker. Paces the field. Lights still on that iRacing.com pace car. Those lights are going to go out this time by, which means next time by, we're going to get back to the high-flying, high-octane racing action right here on Tier 1 Studio. I want to thank all of you for being along for the ride with us this evening. There's the 84 and the 15. Some new faces here inside the top three. Greg Wood Jr., the 67, is now going to be mired back in that 6th place position, outside lane row number 3. The first time this car is going to be in dirty air. Let's see if he can reclaim what was once his as we get ready to go back to green flag racing. And we are back to it here, back to the good part. This is full set of the turns 1 and 2 complex. The 84, Eddie Baker is going to clear. Side by side, door to door, beating and banging off of each other. A lot of respect being shown right now between Gary Smith and Christopher Pendle. They still have it locked. They cannot get away from each other. The 15 is going to get a little bit of separation. However, that low lane is going to have the shorter distance around. I'm not sure who led last time by at the line. This is incredible stuff going on right now. I mean, this is a show. This is a spectacular between Gary Smith and Christopher Pendle. Where can I buy VIP tickets to this as we go back now to the instant replay? What a save. The Sim Magic Ride is the Magic Man out there. That car was every which way but straight, and somehow he was able to will that car to carry. Wow, incredible stuff. Greg Wood Jr. now on the comeback tour has regained 3 positions. He now resides in 3rd. Next person on his hit list, you guessed it, folks, that 97 in front of him. Gary Smith up 9 positions. Your biggest mover of the race has now come off the scoring pylon all the way to P2. However, look at, my God, look how good Greg, I can't even talk right now. That's how good this Toyota is right here right now. It doesn't even look fair. All these other, well, the other reason could be he's got some fresher shoes on that machine. 45 laps, that's a big tire differential. That Camry down, under caution the last time by. As someone hit the flux capacitor on me here in South Florida and sent me back, and however, able to get the lights turned back on and back to the booth we are. But sometimes, you know, track position, especially in the next-gen cars, that's a whole different animal than these cars right here. Track position in the Cup Series is king. These cars are a little bit different. This is if you remember the Gen 6 era, these cars have a lot of characteristics similar to that style of racing in the Cup Series back then. And Greg Wood able to say, I can take it from 3 rows deep in the field out of this restart, and I can walk through this competition and methodically just take the spots when I want it. And he has clawed his way all the way back to 2nd and is now hounding the leader, Eddie Baker, for all he is worth. As we send it now to the drone cam. Does he use the bumper? There he does. He deploys the growing horn, trying to move the 84 out of the way. Baker does a great job holding out of that race car. However, that's going to open the door, and the 67's going to put the power down, and back to the lead goes the man that has led the most laps tonight, Greg Wood Jr., back to the point at USA International Speedway. A little bit further back now. This is for that 4th place position. Another side-by-side Noah's Ark situation. 2 Chevrolets going at it. The Moon Pie Man, Spencer Teal, going outside of the 1, the Magic Man. Why do I call him the Magic Man? If you've seen that save just a few laps ago, I need to say no more. That's going to allow some of these other guys to get into the mix. Wes Fuller lurking as well here in the 35. This is where you got to be careful, though. Don't want to force the issue, especially when you start driving this race car hard. Those rear tires are going to get hot. And as they heat up, the rear end grip is going to go away, and especially when you dive bomb the corner, the only way you're going to beat that guy more oftentimes than not off the top is you got to get back into the throttle to compensate for the distance offset. And you do that, spell disaster. So you got to be really disciplined as Eddie Baker now going to slot back to that second place position. And you guessed it, folks, the 67. Looking like Earnhardt Sr. of old, slicing through the field and takes it back to the house, back to the point here in the beautiful state of Florida, under the lights here in prime time on Tier 1 Racing Studio. And now to the instant replay side of things. Check this out. Watch Matt Erickson here, the 28. Gonna come down there and kiss the concrete there, the pit wall barrier. White contact, though, he should be okay. Green flag gonna stay out, which means now as we work lap 141 out of the scheduled 150, we are now less than 10 laps remaining here to settle this one. And he put some fresh General tires on that Toyota, and Greg Wood behind the wheel. Look at Junior go. He has now opened this up to almost a second on the competition, and great competition behind him. Eddie Baker, no slouch. Gary Smith knows how to drive one of these race cars. He's up 8 positions to the good this race for a reason. Spencer Teal, another name. If you've been on iRacing, you know Spencer Teal. And these are some very, very good race car drivers, and Greg Wood is just walking away from them right now. And you can argue, Matt, he's got fresh tires. Well, guess what? Earlier in this race, they were on the same tires, and Greg Wood Jr. still could not be touched. And we're back to the slugfest between the 84 and the 97. These two have been fixated at the hip like magnets at times throughout this race. They just cannot get away from each other. Teal going to make a late charge here, probably trying to dethrone Gary Smith from a podium. So you got to be conscientious if you're in the 97 camp, where's Teal is, as the clock keeps ticking. Taking you on board, looking out back of the leader, Greg Wood Jr. And you can see this three-way battle here. And he is loving life right now, watching that from the rear view mirror of his race car. No one's gonna wreck the race car here. Take a look at this, folks, as we are now under 5 laps to go. Gonna try to pull out here and make a move, and it's just gonna go horribly wrong. Actually, no, that looks like something broke on that race car. Very unfortunate exit from this race late. This time by popsicle sticks are going to go on the board for Greg Wood Jr. These laps are probably feeling like an eternity for that driver, as he just wants to see a checkered flag. Greg Wood, that's all he wants to see. He doesn't want to see any other flag, but they are beating and banging. They are throwing up World War II style trench warfare behind him for that second and third place position. The 84 Baker doing everything to keep Gary Smith behind him in that Ford. Doing a masterful job of it this far. Gonna have maybe one more shot, maybe 2 here. There's 1 lap to go. Greg Wood Jr., let's keep it fixated on him for the final lap of this race, since it's through the turns 1 and 2 complex for the final time. He's going to get a great run up the bottom. He salutes the crowd, going down the backstretch, and then at the line, he's going to take the checkered flag here at the Big House in Lakeland. Greg Wood puts on a stellar, dominating performance, a masterclass. He is your winner here from USA International Speedway. Eddie Baker in the 84 machine put on a heck of a fight between himself and Gary W. Smith. That's your second and third place finishers. You're going to hear from them momentarily here on post-race coverage. Spencer Teal having a great showing tonight, comes home 4th, and TJ Allen rounds out your top 5. We'll go through the rest of the order after we finish driver interviews and post-race comments here on Tier 1 Studio. But my goodness, folks, what a drive out of the 67 tonight. That was a statement win as he gets ready to burn the house down. Get rid of the rest of that rubber on those tires, buddy. You earned it. And he is going to celebrate, and he is going to celebrate hard here. Well-deserved win. And as Greg Wood Jr. celebrates and burns it down, we're going to go ahead and kick off post-race driver interviews. Again, what a drive from the 67. He has to be lit right now, and after that performance, you deserve it, my man. What a drive. (10-4).
At Tier 1 Setup Shop, we're not just setup builders. We're racers, league admins, and part of the same sim community you are. We build setups for the full NASCAR ladder, Cup, Xfinity, Trucks, Arca, and the grassroots warriors of short track racing, late models, legends, SK, and tour mods, all tested and refined in real race conditions. We listen, we adjust, we improve, because your input makes our setups better.
Are you looking for a league that has racing 3 nights a week or special event races? Tier 1 Racing League is here for you. Most races are broadcasted by our very own Tier 1 studio. From dirt track to super speedways, Tier 1 has side-by-side racing with real drivers and real rivalries. If you wish to join us, go to our website, tier1racingleague.com, where you can find our Discord link and much more information. Don't forget to subscribe to our Tier 1 Studio YouTube and Twitch channels so you don't miss the action.
Are you ready to take your Twitch and Discord experience to the next level? Introducing EasyDayBot, your ultimate bot for seamless interaction. Whether you're live on Twitch or chatting on Discord, EasyDayBot's dynamic responses open up a whole new world of possibilities. Engage with your community like never before through unique prompts, custom reactions, and endless fun. It's the bot that understands you. Make every day an easy day download now at easydaybot.com.
New to Tier 1, first-time customers get 30% off your first purchase, excluding subscriptions. And if you're a streamer, league, or broadcaster, join our sponsorship program. Share your code, your community gets 10% off, and you earn $1 per setup sold with it. Tier 1 Setup Shop. Built with you, built for you. Every lap, every week.
Race fans, welcome back to Tier 1 Studio. As moments ago, Greg Wood Jr. taught the field a masterclass lesson on how to get it done here in prime time and punches his ticket with a big-time win into victory lane. Huge flex on the field. I'm going to go ahead and say that because why not? I mean, what this guy did this evening was incredible. Such confidence and poise behind the wheel, faith in his race car that his team prepared for him. And man, did that thing execute out there on the racetrack. Precise decision-making all night long tonight, even when he got behind in traffic just a little bit, able to just carve his way through the field and easily regaining the lead from Eddie Baker late, punching his ticket, I said moments ago, into victory lane. We get ready now to talk to our top 3 drivers here on post-race coverage here on Tier 1 Racing Studio. Or Tier 1 Studio, excuse me. Joining me now up in the booth, Gary W. Smith, Matt Metler. What is going on, my man?
Oh, Matt, I didn't know you.
Surprise!
I'm starstruck by you. Hang on a second. I need to process this. Oh, you're my favorite. All right. Let's question.
Gary, I appreciate that, man. And I didn't tell you I was going to be here on purpose. I wanted to surprise you, but I didn't think you were going to have that in the bag. I mean, that kind of performance tonight, man. You got up on the wheel at 97 Ford Mustang. You made it happen, got yourself into the money positions, come home third. Walk me through your race tonight and tell me about that epic battle with Eddie Baker. How did you get that 97 where it needed to be to come home in third when all was said and done, brother?
Well, to make a long story short, I did like 10 laps of practice, and then one of my favorite podcasts was coming on, so then I watched that. I was like, I'll just practice a little bit later. I got distracted with the podcast. I didn't get to practice any. And then, as y'all know, my qualifying sucked. So I was like, I don't know what's going on. And then in the warm-up, I kind of started figuring it out. I was like, I'm going to need to save tire. So I saved tire for the first couple of laps. And then I was having it just happened. I started catching up with Eddie, and I was like, well, there's no way this is happening right now. So I caught up to him. I wasn't able to get around him. I think I was like slightly better on the long run than he was, but there wasn't enough of a long run this race for me to get around him. It was great to be back with him because me and him had some great battles in other leagues. Congratulations to Greg Wood. I mean, he was just gone the whole night. The only chance we had was on green flag runs, and just like I said, there wasn't a chance. But I was very surprised and proud of everybody for not wrecking too much. I know that's ironic for me to say. I don't know if the broadcast caught any of the small beef that I had, but
we got plenty of beef. We got a lot of beef. So let me get this straight. What you're saying is no prep equals podium.
I want to go around telling people that. I just like loose cars. This happened to be a loose car, so I could just kind of jive with it, you know.
I'm going to cut the jokes. I mean, let's be serious. Let's get down to business. You're a heck of a wheel man. You know how to drive this solid rear axle race car. You like vibing off the right rear, and that is very apparent with the limited laps you have out there for whatever reason. Eddie Baker, as you said, very talented behind the wheel. And my God, did you two deliver a performance out there tonight? I mean, that was a heavyweight knockout bout going all the way until the very end between you two, and you guys didn't KO one another either. I mean, you were very respectful about that, you know, between, you know, yourself given and, you know, both ways, vice versa, if you will. Does that, you know, talk about, you know, how much respect that you both have? You mentioned you have experience in other leagues racing around each other, and I think that really was showcased tonight, because typically a new league, if you're a new driver coming in or you don't have a lot of experience, when you drive like that, someone is getting wadded up and stuffed into the fence, but that did not happen between you two tonight.
It just is. He raced me a lot cleaner when I raced him a lot dirtier in years past. So I figure it's about time for me to start racing him the same way he's raced me, you know.
Hey, that's fair enough. I don't want to get you in trouble. We're not going to dive down that rabbit hole any further, buddy. But hey, great to hear your voice. Glad you're here in the series, and heck of a job out there behind the wheel. Before I cut you loose, who do you want to thank who helps you get it done on the 97? The floor is yours, sir.
Well, in this particular league, it's pretty much THDesigns Designs, the main sponsor of this league. If it wasn't for him, I wouldn't even known about this league. But I race in real life. Everybody that's listening to this, go on Facebook, type in Gary Smith Racing. It's like a black and blue car, and that's me. Go follow it. I would appreciate the likes and the support because I need it. Run Legends in a four-banger.
Well, there is from 97 coming home in that third place position. No prep, no problem. Good for third. Put on a heck of a high-flying, high-octane show. That is the one and only Gary W. Smith. Thanks for joining me up here in the booth, brother. Have yourself a great rest of the week.
You too, man.
Continuing on now, up next, joining me up top in the booth, a driver that needs no introduction, Eddie Baker, Matt Metler. Heck of a drive from you tonight, man. How are you able to adapt and overcome, hold off that 97 and come home with a solid P2 effort?
Yeah, well, I mean, the car had a pretty decent feel to it tonight. It started off a little rocky and then kind of really came in. I should have probably taken a pit stop there with the 67, but I thought for sure there'd be more cars on the lead lap and be able to hold him off. I really wanted it to stay green. If it did stay green, I think it would have been one hell of a battle between the two of us. It seemed like every time I try to put my nose in there and make a move, the yellow would come out. So that was a little disappointing, but definitely worked pretty hard. I haven't raced with Gary in probably a year now since another league, so it was almost like old times trying to mirror drive and fight him off. But yeah, I mean, all in all, I'm pretty satisfied with the P2 tonight. Definitely thought it was going to be a heck of a lot worse than it was, but the car really came to and seemed like it was a pretty good battle up front. Hopefully, it was good to watch.
It was beyond good to watch. That's not the right word to describe your performance and the way that you executed out there on the racetrack this evening. You mentioned this car, the way it would transition over the course of this run tonight. It seemed like you had a great long run vehicle, as you just mentioned moments ago. We start to see you closing the gap as those laps continue to go on. But talk about when those cautions, cycled and they transpired on the racetrack. As a driver, does that just gut punch you? How do you were basically there, let's be honest. You were there knocking on the back door, yellow flag comes out. Okay, that's racing. I get that. But then it seemed like it just happened again and again. Every time you had a chance to capitalize on that long run speed, you kind of just got out of your control, of course, but just didn't have that opportunity. How do you keep yourself motivated and stay after it when that continually happens over the course of a race?
Yeah, I just try not to think about it too much. I mean, it does get frustrating, especially when you can make a move and probably have a good heck of a battle. I mean, getting there is one thing, trying to pass them's another, but you're just gonna kind of keep your composure. I tend to get a little hot behind the wheel, unfortunately, but if you can keep that composure and just keep in a rhythm, you'll be all right. It was pretty nice to know that we didn't have to worry about fuel. I know we pretty much all ran out of fuel on the last lap in the first stage there. So, not having that limitation and not that concern, it was easy to push a little harder. And once I found the right brake bias settings, the setup actually really wasn't horrible, and it was pretty enjoyable for this track. And I think it really helped wake the car up. And I waited a little bit, tried to give Greg some time to burn his stuff up, and then tried to push a little bit. So maybe if I didn't wait so long, probably could have done something. Maybe we would have ended up in the lead. But like I said, inevitably he pit, and I didn't realize there was that little cars that were on the lead lap. I thought there was more, and no matter what, he was going to come through the field and get me. So it is what it is, but I think it was a great, successful P2 for tonight.
Absolutely. Well said. I agree with you 100%. Heck of an effort, heck of a drive out of Eddie Baker in the 84 camp. That Chevrolet SS was vibing out there under the lights in prime time. Before I cut you loose, who do you want to thank, Eddie? Who helps you get it done on the 84?
Yeah, thanks Sullivan Tire for being on the truck, celebrating 70 years in business this year. So we got a nice throwback to the Bobby Labonte Interstates paint scheme, the 70th anniversary logo on the car. Shout out to my coworkers, Alyssa and T for watching, grandmother for watching, and look forward to next week, start the playoffs in the trucks, and see what we can do in ARCA next Tuesday.
Well, there he is, ladies and gentlemen. The long run man may not have had the opportunity to go out there and settle it for the lead, but he had the Baker cooking, fired on all 8 cylinders underneath the hood of that Interstate throwback paint scheme 84 Chevrolet. Look for him to keep the fire going. The charge next week as we continue on throughout the ARCA series this season. Have a great rest of the night, Eddie. It's been a pleasure speaking to you once again, buddy.
Thanks, Matt.
And that, of course, Eddie Baker. You can kind of hear the disappointment in his voice just a little bit that he didn't get to use that long run speed. But my goodness, what an overall standout performance from him. And I know I've mentioned it a couple times, but the battling between him and Gary Smith, you don't get to see that every day. That was special, and I'm sure that's something we'll all remember as the season continues to jive forward. 2 down, 1 to go. It's time to bring up the leader tonight. Greg Wood Jr., Matt, up in the Tony Trapasso Memorial Broadcast booth, brother. That was a hell of a drive tonight, my man. No test, no problem. I mean, you had an answer for everything. How were you able to execute such a flawless race over the course of 150 laps tonight?
I mean, it started out pretty good. I knew if I let Teal get me on a start, it's going to take me forever to get back around him. So I just kind of held it on his door, knowing that the outside, because of practice, and that the outside was more dominant when you're side by side. Once I cleared him, I just kind of got myself into a rhythm. I do well at tracks where you have to diamond the turns, or diamond the turns works for me. So I just try to stretch my legs out and get a lead. And then probably with 20, 25 to go, I realized I wasn't going to have enough fuel. So I let my lead shrink down because after the start finish line and halfway down the backstretch, I had to shut the car off. I was shutting the car off for the last like 20 laps of the stage. And that's how Eddie got back in striking distance of me. And once he got within like half a second, I was able to just kind of throttle out and take off. And then we pitted. Then the second half, the second set of tires, I didn't like them very much. They just, I don't know, they felt weird. With iRacing, you always get one set that doesn't feel quite right. So I didn't really have the drive off that I really wanted to, that I had before. And then a couple cautions came out, and I was like, you know what? We got 30 to go. I'm just going to take a chance and come down pit road and put tires on. I think it put me out like P7. And I was like, and Spencer was behind me, and he's like, well, I'm just going to follow you. I was like, well, we're going to the front, so let's go. So I just I burned my tires up a good bit going to the front, just kind of holding it down the bottom and getting the runs and everything. But I knew once I got past Eddie, I can kind of relax a little bit and kind of keep just a safe distance and not burn him up too well. But yeah, I was skating the front end after I got past Eddie, because I just burned him up. But all in all, I mean, the setup felt good. I know some people didn't like it, but I mean, I thought it was very stable if you knew how to drive it, knew how to exit off the turn. So no complaints from me.
I'm glad you said that about that first run there before the 75 lap mark, because I even made the comment, it looked like you were managing the gap at times, and then you were able, as you mentioned, that half a second margin, you were able to open it back up. Did not know you were having to save for 20 laps out there on the racetrack. That is impressive that you were able to do that and maintain the lead at the same time. After that 75 lap mark, late in that run, you restarted, I believe, outside row P number 6, and we watched you slice and dice your way to the front. That was really the first time we seen you in traffic all race long, and you didn't even flinch. You hit your marks. You made those passes when they presented themselves on the racetrack, and once your car got back to the front, you were on cruise control. You mentioned how good this setup was if you knew how to drive the race car. And it looked like, I mean, yours for all intents and purposes was welded to the racetrack. I'd never seen the back end step out. I didn't see the front watch up. You were pristine out there. Congratulations on such a remarkable performance. Before I cut you loose, who do you want to thank who helps you get it done on the 67? The floor is yours.
First and foremost, gotta thank God. Can't do nothing without him. Thanks to all my teammates at TTR. We're definitely a brotherhood, a family. We help each other out. We're coaching each other through practice and everything. Thank you for being a great broadcaster. Thanks to Brett for hosting this series. And thanks for everybody for all in all clean race tonight.
There he is, ladies and gentlemen. The Tier 1 setup shop car was number 1 out there on the racetrack. And Greg Wood Jr. went beast mode out of the competition. Clearly, the fastest car out there all night tonight. He's going to be your winner here from USA International Speedway. Look for him to carry the momentum into next week and throughout the course of the season. Thanks for your time, Greg. We appreciate you, and have a great rest of the week, sir.
Thank you, sir.
And I'll tell you what, folks, that wraps up interviews for the top 3. But you got to love the confidence you hear in his voice. And I get it. You know, sometimes you have a track that's your track. There's just that special bond that you have, or you just have the vibe you have as a driver, what it takes to get it done at certain racetracks. And no doubt here tonight that this place suits Greg Wood Jr.'s driving style. We saw that all night tonight. Even when he got behind the 8 ball, decided to roll the dice there, go full-blown Las Vegas mode, throw tires on that race car late. Didn't matter. That car was destined to be in victory lane, and that's exactly where he ended up here this evening. Don't forget, next week, I'll be back out there on the racetrack as we're on a 50-50 part-time driver, part-time commentator. Want to thank Brett again for this opportunity to come up here in the booth, getting back to what I like doing, and that's just getting back to calling some down hard good racing, and that's what we've seen here tonight out there on the racetrack. Got to thank all the partners, the sponsors. Without your commitment to this league, wouldn't be where it was right now. All the men and women behind the scenes that make this possible. And as the late, great Tony Trapasso used to say, as you walk down the road of life this week, do us all a favor, don't play in traffic, and we'll see you next time right here on Tier 1 Studio.